Saint Faustina Kowalska was not just a devoted nun, but a messenger chosen by God to deliver an urgent warning to humanity. Her story goes beyond faith. It is a divine call that resonates to this day, bringing hope, but also a warning that cannot be ignored. Born in 1905, in the small village of Głogowicz, Poland, Faustina grew up in a humble family, but with an unwavering faith. Since childhood, she felt a deep calling to religious life, but her path would not be easy. Over the years, she faced challenges, financial difficulties, and even rejections, but she never lost the certainty that God was guiding her. At the age of 20, she finally joined the congregation of the Sisters of Our Lady of Mercy, where her life took a direction that the world would never forget. Before we begin, I need to ask you an important question. Are you really prepared to hear this revelation? Saint Faustina Kowalska received direct messages from Jesus, visions that not only comfort, but also warn about something that may be closer than we imagine. The time of mercy is running out, and a great sign will be given to humanity before the day of justice. What Jesus revealed to her was a final opportunity for conversion, a warning that many still ignore. But is there still time? Or are we already living in the days that were foretold? Today, you will discover a truth that could completely change your perspective on what is about to happen. Life in the convent seemed tranquil, but something extraordinary was about to happen. Faustina was not an ordinary nun. She was chosen to be a direct channel between God and humanity. Her visions began shortly after she entered religious life, and on February 22, 1931, a revelation forever changed her destiny. In her cell, a divine light filled the room, and before it appeared Jesus Christ, dressed in white, with one hand blessing and the other pointing to his heart. From his chest, two intense rays emanated, one red and the other pale. Faustina, overwhelmed by the impact of the vision, heard the words that would define her mission. Paint an image according to the model you are seeing, with the inscription, "Jesus, I trust in you." From that moment on, Faustina understood that her task was to spread the message of divine mercy, an invitation to conversion before the time of grace came to an end. But her revelations did not bring only comfort. Christ also warned that, if humanity did not turn to his mercy, a time of justice would come. Before the day of justice, I will give the world a time of mercy. Whoever does not pass through my mercy will have to pass through my justice. The words of Jesus resonate strongly in today's world. Are we living in the period prophesied to Saint Faustina? The mission of Saint Faustina Kowalska was not just to carry divine messages, but to alert humanity about the final time of mercy before God's justice. Her visions went beyond mere spiritual revelations. They were urgent warnings, sacred records that still echo today. Jesus appeared to Faustina in a moment of deep prayer, with a radiant white robe and two rays of light emanating from his heart. One was red, symbolizing the blood shed for the redemption of humanity. The other pale, representing the purifying water that saves and renews souls. His presence was intense, overwhelming, and his words left no room for doubt. You will be the secretary of my mercy. Record everything I tell you, for through your words, many will find the courage to approach me. This is how the diary Divine Mercy in My Soul was born, one of the most impactful spiritual books of the modern world. But its pages contain not only comfort and hope, they also bring warnings about what is to come. Prepare the world for my final coming. That was Christ's direct order. He revealed to Faustina that humanity would receive a sign before the day of justice. The lights of the sky will go out, and a great darkness will cover the earth. It would be the last opportunity for humanity to turn back to God. But if they ignored this call, the time of mercy would end, and divine justice would fall upon the world. The message of Faustina is not just a tale from the past. It's an echo that resonates with urgency in our days. Are we living in the times that Christ revealed to her? Would we be on the brink of the event that will mark the destiny of humanity? Saint Faustina's vision was not just a call to conversion, but a warning about the future of humanity. Among her most impactful revelations was the prophecy that a great sign in the sky would mark the end of the time of mercy. In her diary, she wrote about a terrifying moment. "I saw an intense light in the sky, and in the middle of it, God the Father. But between him and the earth was Jesus, who pointed to his wounds. When God looked at the world, he saw the sacrifice of his Son." Jesus revealed to Faustina that, before the Great Judgment, all souls would see their lives before the eyes of God. An inner judgment, a moment of absolute truth, where each person would understand their mistakes, the sins they committed, and all the good they could have done but did not. "Before I come as judge, I will open the doors of my mercy, but those who do not pass through them will have to face the door of my justice." The intensity of this event would be so great that many would believe they were living through the end of the world. However, it would be a last chance, a final call for conversion. Faustina wrote that she saw two roads before her, one illuminated, leading to salvation, the other dark, where crowds walked unaware of the danger that awaited them. "Oh, if sinners knew my grace, they would not perish in such great numbers." The message of Jesus is clear. The time of mercy is now. What will come after will be a time of separation, where each soul will reap what it has chosen. The messages left by Saint Faustina Kowalska resonate to this day as a call of urgency for humanity. Among her most striking visions is the revelation of divine mercy, symbolized by the two rays emanating from the heart of Christ. One red, representing the blood that gives life, and one pale, symbolizing the water that purifies souls. Jesus entrusted Faustina with a crucial mission: to spread devotion to his mercy before the time of grace ended. He promised that those who venerated this image and trusted in his mercy would not be abandoned, especially at the hour of death. "I promise that the soul who venerates this image will not perish. I myself will defend it in its final hour as my own glory." But the revelations she received were not just messages of comfort. Christ warned her about the time of divine justice, an inevitable period that would come upon the world if humanity refused to turn to God. "Speak to the world about my mercy, for this is the last lifeline. Then the day of justice will come." In her diary, Faustina recorded a frightening sign that would precede this moment. "All the light in the heavens will be extinguished, and a great darkness will cover the earth." Moreover, Christ revealed to him the signs of the end of the time of grace: massive loss of faith, where multitudes would abandon God, global wars and conflicts, with nations turning against each other, intensified natural disasters, as a response of the earth to the sins of men, and moral confusion, where what was holy would be ridiculed and evil exalted. These prophecies resonate strongly in today's world. Just look around to see the signs: spiritual crises, wars, global instability, and unprecedented natural disasters. Jesus emphasized the urgency of his message: "Tell the souls that now is the time of mercy. Then the terrible day of my justice will come." In light of these words, a question arises: are we witnessing the fulfillment of these prophecies before our very eyes? Is there still time for humanity to turn back to God? The decision is in our hands. The time of mercy is running out. The visions of Saint Faustina Kowalska brought to the world a divine warning and a promise of mercy. In her mystical experience, she described a moment that would mark humanity forever. In her diary, she wrote about a great light in the sky, and in its center God the Father. Between that light and the earth, he saw Jesus, pointing to the cross. According to his vision, whenever God looked at the world, he would do so through the wounds of Christ. This would be an event of universal revelation, where all of humanity would recognize the divine presence. Jesus warned Faustina that this event would occur before the last day. After that, the time of justice will come. This great sign would be the final proof of God's existence, a moment of spiritual clarity that no one could deny. Faustina recorded that, in the face of this phenomenon, all souls would see the truth and understand the infinite love of the Creator. However, this would not be the only revelation. Before the final judgment, Jesus revealed to Faustina that each person on earth would undergo a transformative experience, known as the inner judgment. At that moment, each person would see their own soul in the divine light, without masks or illusions. "I will show each one the true state of their conscience," said Christ. People would realize the good they could have done and neglected. This experience would not come as punishment, but as a final act of mercy. For many, it would bring a spiritual awakening, sincere repentance, and a new chance to turn to God. But for others, who chose to remain in disbelief, this revelation would bring despair and rejection. "Where will those who ignore this moment of grace be?" warned Jesus. Faustina emphasized that the time to act is now. This is the time of mercy. It is the time to obtain all possible graces. But that time will not be eternal. Christ made it clear that humanity needs to choose: pass through the door of mercy or face justice. Given these revelations, the question that remains is, are we ready to see our soul as God sees it? What are we doing to prepare ourselves for that inevitable day? After this personal illumination, Faustina had a final vision. Humanity would be divided. On one side, those who accepted grace and sought forgiveness. On the other, those who rejected divine love. "I saw two roads," she wrote. "The choice is already before us." The road split in two. On one side, a path full of light, flowers, and joy, where the righteous walked in peace, enveloped by divine mercy. On the other, a dark and arduous path, where tears and suffering marked every step. But even in the darkness, there were those who stood up and moved forward, sustained by the grace of God. Saint Faustina saw this division as a reflection of each soul's destiny, depending on their choices and their faith. Jesus promised that those who trust in His mercy would receive special protection in times of trial. He assured Faustina that the souls who spread devotion to His mercy would be defended at the final moment. And the chaplet of divine mercy, taught by Christ to Faustina, would become a powerful spiritual weapon, capable of redeeming even the most hardened sinner, as long as it is recited with faith. Even if there were a hardened sinner, if he prays this rosary at least once, he will receive the grace of my infinite mercy, Jesus assured. The veneration of the image of divine mercy was also presented as a means to obtain this protection. Jesus stated, "I promise that the soul that venerates this image will not perish. At the moment of death, I myself will defend it as my own glory." These words reaffirm the urgent need for conversion and sincere seeking of divine mercy while there is still time. The visions of Saint Faustina warn us that the time of grace is running out, and humanity needs to return to God. Jesus was clear in saying, "Before I come as a just judge, I open wide the door of my mercy. Whoever does not want to pass through it will have to pass through the door of justice." This message invites us to a deeper commitment to faith, sincere repentance, and total trust in the Lord's mercy. As we conclude this reflection on the revelations of Saint Faustina Kowalska, we are confronted with a message that is both urgent and hopeful. Urgency, for the signs she saw seemed to be unfolding before our eyes. Hope, for God, in His infinite goodness, still offers us His mercy, awaiting our response. The call of divine mercy is not just a warning, but an invitation to spiritual transformation. Jesus left a powerful reminder. Humanity will not have peace until it turns with confidence to my mercy. May this truth resonate in our hearts and lead us to fully live our faith. Let us trust in God's grace and proclaim with conviction, "Jesus, I trust in you."